phone with my friend Russell. I've talked about him before. He's one of my best buds from college. We've stayed connected since we left each other at college. He was one of my best buds. My wife called him my man wife. We went to school together. We worked together. We lived next door to each other. You know what I'm talking about, right? One of my best buds. And he works at Calvary Christian Church in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, that's the church that I was working at before I came here, okay? He started working there about a year ago. It's not a big deal. It's just, since college, we've always dreamed about working together at the same church, and I leave and he shows up finally, right? It's not that big of a deal, right? And I mean, it's just a little deal. It's something we prayed and begged God, could you put us together one day in ministry? And he shows up. It's not that. I'm okay with it, really. I am. But he asked me a question. It was really interesting. Calvary Christian Church, it's been around for a long time, but they've been doing things right for a really good while now, and they're starting to see the fruit of that. They're growing really, really well, and they're loving on people. So a lot of the good things we do around here, we just stole from them. Anyways, it's okay. I have permission. We can do that kind of thing, right? And so as the church grows, they're constantly adding on staff. And he asked me an interesting question that I figured you guys would be interested in my answer to the question. He said, Jeff, if Calvary were to create the perfect position, your dream job, and they offered it to you, do you think you would come back? And I didn't answer right away because, there's certain things that I just love to do, and I love that church, and I love the people there, and I invested a lot of my time and energy into that place. But actually, fairly quickly, I said to him, man, God has placed us here, and we are here to stay. And we love this church, and we're thankful for this church, and don't clap, you'll embarrass me. First service did that, no need that. I told him that God never brings a pastor to a church because they need him. God brings them because that pastor needs that church just as much, okay? And we really believe that. We genuinely believe that. And I'm just telling you guys this because, again, the church has been going through a tough season. We've lost a lot of people that we love, and we know that there's more that are kind of coming down the line. And it seems like more tragedies continue to hit, and I really think that the enemy's trying to use this to hurt and to wear us out and that kind of stuff, and it just seems to be happening a lot, right? And I just wanted to share with you guys that my response. I also wanted to share my wife's response with you because I told her that he had asked me that question, and she answered a lot quicker. She said, "Don't you dare!" Don't you dare. So she responded a lot quicker. Okay, yeah. I guess if you want to clap for her, you can. Yeah. No, but because we do. We love the church here. We're very, very thankful for you guys. We feel like we've been growing here as well, and we really like Rochester. Rochester is a really cool place to live. We really do enjoy it. There's one thing about Rochester, though, man, if we could change. There's probably a few things, but this one. Why does Rochester not have a Sonic drive-in? Why does it not have a Sonic? What is going on? Happy hour at Sonic Drive-In, one of the greatest things in the world, isn't it? Well, maybe not one of the greatest things in the world, but you know what I mean? Like, it's so great, right? And I guess if I'm wishing for things, it'd be nice to bring in a Chick-fil-A as well, but we won't get on down that track. So, but one of the reasons I love Sonic so much is because of their ice. I mean, honestly, I can be honest. Like, their food is subpar. It really is. But guys, Sonic Happy Hour, I tell them to fill up my cup all the way because I love a very, very cold drink. I don't care if it waters down my soda. Okay, I would go, because you can go to Sonic and you can go through a drive-thru and say, I want a bag of ice, and they'll sell it to you for $1. So we constantly had Sonic ice in the fridge because that was my favorite. It's that chunky little pellet ice. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like they have it in, it's just the best because it's crunchable, it's just, oh man, it's so great. But I just love a cold drink. Okay, as cold as it can get. Again, I don't care if it's watering down the drink. I just want it super, super cold. When we were in college, we had this old refrigerator there, this old clunker that was probably there since they built the place, right? And but I had this thing set just right that I could take a water bottle full of water and put it in a certain spot and at night, okay? And then when I got up in the morning, it would super cool the water. Now, do you know what it means to super cool the water? It means it's just on the edge of freezing. And if you go online and just go onto YouTube and say super cooled water or super cooled Coke, do that one. They take super cooled water and Coke, and what they do is they start pouring it onto an ice cube, and it starts forming into like ice and slush. As it hits, because it's so cold that the moment it touches ice, it starts to crystallize and it turns into that. And so what I would do is it was this cool trick that people would be over, and I'd pull out this thing and say, see how it's water? And I'd do this, whoosh, and it would turn into slush. Okay, so I loved that. I wanted to take that fridge with us. I wish I still had that fridge because Miranda got upset because it would like freeze the eggs and stuff. But she left it for me because I love a super, super cold drink. Lukewarm water is awful. Okay, our ice machine doesn't work in our fridge, and so we have to keep it stocked. If it's not stocked and the kids have drained the water in the fridge, man, it's awful when you're hot and you got to go to the sink. And you have to drink this lukewarm, like you can't even shower in lukewarm stuff. It's no use. Lukewarm water is no use. Okay, now, question. Some of you know where I'm going with this. What is the purpose or what use does a lukewarm Christian have? Okay, what's the purpose of a lukewarm Christian? Now, for you Christians, they're like, I know what scripture he's talking about, and I know the thing about spitting it out. You know, God's going to spit it out. Just be careful, okay? Be careful, Christian, if you know the answer to this, right? If you have not loved on the poor, if you have not loved on the lost, if you have not loved on people that Jesus would love on in the last couple of months, you knowing the answer to this might be knowing your own judgment, okay? Just be careful. Because you haven't lived like that. I really want you to pay attention today, Christian, okay? And I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, you just got to be hot for Jesus, right? And you got to be really on fire for Christ. That's not actually what that verse is about. But we'll get into that just a second. Let's pray. And we'll see how Jesus kind of interacts with this concept. Lord Jesus, we love you, and we thank you for this day, and we thank you for these beautiful children. To thank you for the joy that a screaming child singing one of your songs can just be so great, Lord. Lord, we ask you that right now our hearts would be open and our minds would be open to hear from your word, that your Spirit would run free in this place, and that it would that as you move, Father, that we would receive and that we would respond. Or that you would continue to change us into new people. Lord Jesus, you would help us to be more like you every single day. So, Lord, take this word and do something great with it. We thank you, Jesus, for being the perfect example of this. You were not lukewarm. The way you lived really made people have to figure out what they believed, Father, and I pray that we would live the same way. It's in your name we pray. Amen. You have your Bibles open up to John 11. We're going to be starting in verse 45. Now, for the last 3 weeks, we've been studying this story where Jesus raises his friend Lazarus up from the dead. Now, this is a pretty amazing feat because the Jewish, I've been trying to study and figure out exactly what it was. It was either Jewish custom or tradition or superstition. I can't really nail it down. But there was this kind of general belief that the soul would reside around the body for 3 days before it would move on, according to the Jewish mind, okay? So Jesus waits 4 days till after that's gone, and by the 4th day, physically, the body is also kind of starting to digest itself and get bloated. It's like gross and all that kind of, But that's what made this miracle so amazing. Okay, Jesus has already raised up 2 people from the dead. They've already talked about how they knew Jesus could do this kind of stuff. But now that this guy's been dead for 4 days, they're thinking probably Jesus, not even Jesus could come and do this. He probably could have healed him. He probably could have brought him back same day or something like that. But at this point, the body's so far gone, not even Jesus could do it. So he waited purposely for 4 days, brought his friend back to life, okay? And now we get to see the result. What happens in result to this amazing miracle? How do people respond? John 11:45. Therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did, they believed in him. Okay, verse 45, it says that many who came, they believed it, okay? Now, the book of John is full of this believing language, okay? Consistently, as Jesus did things, as Jesus said certain things, John in particular really focuses and zones in on these moments where he does something and it causes people to believe. Now, if you're reading through John, you might even just pass over this thinking, well, duh, okay? But we got to, again, just think about this. You're standing around, and this guy is gone. You've been mourning with your friend for 4 days. They roll back this stone, and out comes... Remember how we talked about how he hopped out of there because he was wrapped up in linen, and he says, Lazarus, come out, and so he had to hop out. In that moment, right? In that moment, that would cause most people to go, huh. There's something to this. Yeah, I mean, we know Jesus is a miracle worker. People are kind of used to that. But this, a 4-day dead man, he was a rotting corpse. Okay, his soul had gone. His soul was far gone. And Jesus just, And people, when they saw it, they believed. Now, there was another response, verse 46. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus has done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. Remember, the Sanhedrin was like ruling council. These guys made all these big decisions. They had political power. They, of course, had religious power. These are the big dogs we're talking about here. And they said, what are we accomplishing? Here is this man performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nation. So Jesus was becoming a security problem. This is a national security problem because Rome had a reputation that anytime someone would come into power over a region that they were in charge of, if someone started, because they were used to people trying to revolt and trying to get rid of Roman rule, right? And this had happened in the Jewish nation many times before. Okay, that the people had tried to fight off the Roman incursion on their land, right? So anytime someone of power started to come in, the Romans would come in and take care of it the way that Romans took care of it. That's why the cross is such a big deal. Okay, because they would put people up on the cross, and they would put the people on the crosses on the roadside as a reminder. So as you're using their wonderful roads that they made for everyone, you have this reminder, don't mess with Rome. And so the Jews are afraid. They're thinking, okay, if Jesus really becomes this big deal, this amazing miracle worker, Rome is going to come in and take care of it, and they're going to take away our temple, and they're going to kill people. Right? Now, so their response, verse 49, one of them named Caiaphas, which we'll talk about more in later sermons, who was a high priest that year, spoke up. You know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perish. Now, this statement is filled with ironicity. I wanted to say ironicity. That's totally not a word, but you know what I mean? This is an ironic statement that he's saying, hey, you know what? If we just kill this man, this will take care of the problem. Now, it didn't, if you know your history. Okay, if you know your history, you know what happens. Right? That the Christians don't go away when Jesus dies. In fact, they become one of the strongest movements that our world has ever seen today. It started. And Rome does come in and destroy the temple. Rome does come in and kill many, many people because of this Christian movement that Jesus started. But killing the one man didn't stop it. But again, it's more ironic, though, the fact that he said, well, if we kill him, it'll take care of the problem. When basically, when he says, isn't it better that one person die instead of all die? Isn't that kind of what we believe? Isn't it better that one man die so that all don't have to die? So it's just like, and John, recognizing the irony of what he said, says, he did not say this on his own, but as a high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for the nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together to make them one. Verse 53, so from that day on, they plotted to take his life because they didn't believe that he was from God. Okay? They believed he was doing what he was doing under the power of Satan. Okay? Now, so what Jesus does here is that Jesus lives and acts a certain way that it draws a line in the sand and it forces people to say, do I believe or do I not? But this one miracle, okay, one of these final miracles that Jesus does, this amazing thing, it causes people to say, well, there's Lazarus. He was undeniably dead for 4 days. This is not a coincidence. He was dead and now he's been brought back to life. We got to figure out what we believe here. So the way Jesus lived, the way Jesus acted, the way Jesus spoke, caused people to have to figure out whether or not they believed or not. Okay? Now, that believe idea, let me ask you a question. Can you half believe in something? Can you half believe in something? This is an important question in our world today. Now, I don't do this. I feel weird. It's like Webster's dictionary. I don't like doing this, but listen, the word is important, okay? When you look up the word believe, there's two definitions, okay? The first one is to accept something as true and to feel sure of the truth. Okay, so it's this conviction that I am convinced that this is real, right? But it also could mean, the way we use the word believe, it also could mean suppose, so I said to hold something as an opinion or think or suppose. As an example, I believe we have met before. I believe, we've met before, right? So it's just kind of like half like I'm pretty sure, and because I'm pretty sure, I'm going to say I believe something. Okay, now, the word that is used in the original Greek is this word pisteuo. Okay, and it only has one definition. Well, it does have another one. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay? To think to be true of, to be persuaded of, and to place your confidence in. Okay, that's what it means. To think to be true, to be persuaded of, and to place your confidence in, i.e., things that you believe, i.e., moral and religious reference, okay, i.e., trusting in Christ, trusting in the Bible, that kind of stuff, right? The second definition means they would use this word as in I'll let you hold on to my stuff. Okay, that was the other way that they would use this word, pisteuo. But it basically means I have confidence in you so you can hold on to my stuff. So that's the other. But again, it's this firm. There is no secondary definition where it's like, well, I'm pretty sure, and so I say I believe. Now that is important. That is important because you can say that you believe in something but not give your whole life to it, according to the way that we use the word believe. And that is very, very prevalent in our society today when it comes to the agnostic faith. Now, if you have that agnostic faith, okay, I want to speak to you right now. Okay, one, I'm not going to come down on you. Okay, I recognize that faith is something that goes deeper than just a Sunday morning. Okay, that faith is something that goes deeper into something that you have a conviction about. Okay, that faith is like even we teach that God is this infinite being, and we are finite being trying to understand infinite God. Okay, so even we recognize that this is a complicated thing. And when you mix in the fact that most people believe what they believe because they were raised in a house that believes what they believe. So when you put into the fact that your life, that the way you lived your life is a result of how you believe, or the way that you were raised in your life can be a result in what you believe. Okay, so the fact that belief is not just something that you have in your head or something that you have in your heart, that it's a part of who you are, that means that faith is very, very complex and difficult. And the agnostic faith, I've heard this time and time again, especially from young people. They say, well, I believe that there is a God, but I'm just not certain who he is. Or, I believe that there's a God, but I believe that they're all basically the same God. God's at the top of the mountain. If you choose Christianity, if you choose Muslim, Buddhist, okay, you're all going to follow up the same path to meet the same God, okay? I've heard that I've had these real conversations with real people. This is what they believe, okay? Now, if that is you, I just want to challenge you. Again, I respect it. Believe me. I respect that that's where you are because it is a complicated issue. I've been down that path myself, okay? Okay, so again, I just want you to know I respect you, but I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you not to stay in that place. Okay? Don't stay in this place where you're just like, well, I know there's something there. I'm just not quite certain, okay? Do the hard work to figure out what it is that you believe. Okay, do the hard work to figure it out, because what has happened is the agnostic faith has basically turned into an excuse not to try. In many people, the agnostic faith is simply lazy spirituality. Well, I'm sure there's something, I just don't know what it is. Okay? I want to challenge you. Again, I understand why. I respect that. But I'm challenging you, don't stay there. Figure out what it is you believe. And God has something that he wants to say to you. It's found in Revelation 3, 15 through 16. He says, I know your deeds and that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were either one, but because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. Okay, so this is a warning. Figure out what it is that you believe. Stand on something, right? See, here's the deal. As a Christian, I believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. That when he said, I am the way, the truth, and life, the only way you get to God is through me. I have given my life over to that, okay? I believe that that is the truth. I believe that grace really is the only way. That you cannot earn your way to God. You can't do any of that stuff. That grace is the only way. Okay, so I've given myself over to that. I stand in the confidence of what I believe. Okay, now for the Muslim down the street, they believe that Allah is God. They believe that Muhammad was his prophet, his final prophet. They believe Jesus was a good man, that he was a good prophet, but they don't believe he was the Son of God. Okay, and they believe on it. They stand on that. They're confident in that, okay? For someone to look at us and say, well, you guys basically follow the same God. Both of us agree on something. You're nuts. Okay? You're nuts. You can't look at us, because what we believe defines who we are, defines the way that we live. And there are major, major differences. And so to say, well, you basically follow the same guy, you just go on the same mountain. It's like, that is, again, I'm not trying to be insulting. But listen, until you have put the same amount of time that I've put in and the same amount of time that he's put in, you don't get to look at us and tell us we're doing the same thing. It's easy and lazy to sit back and say, well, you're basically following the same thing. It's a cop-out. So I'm challenging you, if you have the agnostic faith, figure it out. And do you know why I can tell you to figure it out? And why I'm not afraid of you to go to a Muslim mosque or anything like that. Do you know why? Because if you are genuinely looking for the truth, you will find him. Do you hear me? If you are genuinely looking for the truth, he will be found by you, and he will find you. If you're seeking the truth, then you will realize, I can't earn my way out of my sin. You will find that. You can try to continue to earn that, but you will one day wear yourself out spiritually, and you will realize grace really is the only way. Okay, now, that was supposed to be a side note, and we got to move on. Now, Jesus lived in a way, let's come back to this. Christian, Jesus lived in a way that the way that he lived, the way that he spoke, it caused people to stop and say, okay, I got to figure this out. Christian, do you live in such a way that when people look at your life, they say, there's something there, I got to figure this out? Or basically, do you look like everyone else except you go to church on Sundays? Example, Jesus, the way he spoke, the way he handled God's word, forced people to figure out what they believed. In John 7, John 7. In John 7, they come to Jesus and say, hey, where'd you get all this learning from? Okay, he'd just been speaking all this amazing stuff, and they're just like, what? He didn't study under a rabbi. Normally, like, guys who speak like him are like 2 times his age. That's probably shouldn't over-exaggerate. Twice as old as he is. And yet he sounds, what? Jesus, where'd you get this from? And he says, well, I got it from God. I got it from my Father. Okay, the way he handled God's word and the way that he spoke drew a line in the sand. And it says, after he said those words, it says that some believed in him. And then others decided they wanted to kill him. Okay, now another time when they're like, Jesus, you got to just tell us, who are you? Because again, based on what he was doing and based on what he was saying, they're like, who are you? He says, well, I'm the Son of God. Again, by saying the way that he was speaking, the way he was teaching, the way that he used God's word, he drew a line in the sand. And it says because he said, people had to figure out what they believed. So either they believed or they started picking up stones because they were going to stone him. So the way you speak Christian has an effect on how people believe. Do you speak in such a way that causes people to stop and think there's something there? I had a friend of mine who would curse like a sailor. We played video games together constantly, okay? Curse like a sailor, always crude, always like, when you get online, you can just be something that you're hidden behind a screen. So you can say whatever you want, right? So that's typically online gaming. Can be a really toxic culture, okay? Well, he decided that there was something to this Jesus. He started to really seek it out, and he gave his life over to Christ. Eventually, God said to this guy, hey, I want your mouth. Stop. No more cursing, no more doing that, and don't do it online, because that's where it comes out of you the worst, right? So he stopped cursing. He stopped saying all this crude stuff. His friends started making fun of him, because when you use a certain word and suddenly you're like, poop, right? That makes people go, what is that, right? It's okay to laugh at that. I know some of you think that's crude, but I'm just telling you the truth. This is what happened, right? One day he's playing a game, and normally he would say one word, and he didn't. He's like, poop. And they're like, no, hang on now. What did I just hear? What was that, man? And they started making fun. Okay, now here's the deal. He continued to live this way, and some friends of his were like, man, what is going on? What's going on? He said, well, I've met this guy named Jesus. He started telling them about how Jesus was changing his life. He lost some of his friends. But what happened was many of them continued to stay online with him over, the course of many months. And he started hearing his story. He had a chance to take God's word, what he had learned, even though he's very fresh into the faith. He was able to take what he learned and tell them about this Jesus that changed his life. And a couple of them started to come to church with him. By the way he spoke, it drew a line in the sand, and it caused people to say, I got to figure this out. Now, another way that Jesus did it was the way that he lived. The way that he unexpectedly loved people. Favorite story is in John 4, the Samaritan woman. Okay, Jesus was a Jew and he was a male. The Samaritans and the Jews did not get along. The Jews thought, the Samaritans were kind of half Jews, and they thought they had the same right to follow the same God that the Jews did. The Jews said no. They didn't believe that. They believed that they were this bad offspring, a curse from God, and they didn't let them worship at the same temple as them. In fact, if you were a Jew and you stayed in a Samaritan town, you had to go through a ritual of cleansing to become clean again. It was sick, it was gross, it was wrong, right? At the same time, Jesus was a man and this was a woman, and in their day, it was a very chauvinistic society that some men wouldn't even talk to their wives in public, okay? And so Jesus sits down at this well with the Samaritan woman, and he starts talking to her, and she's so blown away. She's like, hang on. I'm a woman, you're a man. I'm a Samaritan and you're a Jew. What are you doing talking to me? And he continues to talk to her about God and religion and all this kind of stuff. And she comes into faith. And she's like, immediately she goes in town. She's like, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. And they come out and they meet this Jesus. He stays for a couple of days. And it says that many believed in him because of the way that he unexpectedly loved someone. Let me ask you a question, church. Who is the Samaritan woman of our world, of our culture today? How can we unexpectedly love people? Let me tell you, the world expects us to love the poor. The world expects us to love the addicted. Okay, the world expects us to love on the prisoner. Who does the world not expect Christians to love? Okay, Jesus talks about how, oh, you love people like you? Yes, so what? What good does that do? Right? You can almost make the connection there. You love everyone, everyone does that. He says, I tell you, love your enemies. Who are the enemies of the church? Who are the enemies of Christianity? Well, some would say atheists. Some would say Muslims, right? That's a big one. That's a big one. The world does not expect us to love them. How about this one? 91% of young people outside of the church. I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. I'm reading a book for college. It's called Unchristian. It's fascinating to see how the outside world perceives the church, those inside the church. 91% of young people believe that if you're Christian, it means you're anti-gay. 91% believe that if you're a Christian, that means you hate gay people. I hang out at Friendship Place on Fridays. I'm loving these kids. This little Muslim girl, saw my ring. It's one that I got from my friend. He gave this to me. It really means a lot to me. It's got a cross on it. And we're sitting there, we're reading through a book together. She looks at me and she says, is that a cross? I said, yep. She said, are you a Christian? I said, yeah, actually I'm a pastor. Guys, there was fear in her eyes. And I just smiled at her and I said, but I'm just here to help you with your homework today. I said, Jesus told us to love everyone. So I'm just here to help. And she said, yeah, we're supposed to help one another, right? I said, you bet he is. You bet. This little girl has grown up with this perception that Christians aren't ever going to love her. Guys, it is up to us. I don't care if you don't like the perception. I don't care if you blame the media or you think it's all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. They see us the way they see us. Church, it is up to us and the way that we love to show the world that we do not hate gay people. We do not hate Muslims. We do not hate atheists. In fact, Jesus is the one that made all sin at the same level. The cross means that everyone has a chance at grace. That is the message. It is not a message of do right and he'll accept you. No. Jesus is the one that there's a level ground at the cross, guys. The world needs to see that. They're not going to see it by the way we just stand around and preach at them from hiding inside of our walls. No, guys. Do you love in such a way that it causes people to say, well, there's something there. I got to figure this out. When you have a chance to talk to someone about who Jesus is and the way you handle that and the way you speak and the way you use your words, do you sound like everyone else around? I'm not talking about speaking Christianese either. Okay? Again, I just read it yesterday. Three-fourths of all young people, okay, they look at people inside the church and they say, well, they're just a bubble of people that are stuck in their own little world. And one of the things that they said was that we don't understand them when they talk. You've been justified by faith for the righteousness of Jesus Christ and for the Holy Spirit to come in and sanctify you of all your sins. They're like, what? Okay, guys, it is up to us to change this perception the way that we live. I'm running out of time. What if, church, this agnostic faith is blowing up in our world today? What if this agnostic faith is blowing up in our world today. People who are saying, I'm pretty sure I believe, I'm not quite sure what I believe. What if it's because? Now, I'm not putting all the blame on this, but what if it's because they look at Christians and they see people that are only different by the way they go to church? A lot of people talk and say a lot of stuff, but really they're just kind of the same as everyone else. I have a verse for that. I know your deeds, that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. See what I did there? You Christians were all excited because I was getting after those agnostics with those words, weren't you? You were like, yeah, Jeff, get those agnostics. Tell them to turn their ways around, church. Neither hot nor cold. If you look like everyone else, what's the point? I wrote this down. I don't really read from my notes except when I'm reading Scripture, but I want to read this to you. What if we Christians understand, comprehend, and agree with the gospel, but we're basically living like agnostics? Unsure, uncommitted, afraid, and second-guessing obedience. What if we are creating the path for the agnostic faith? Because they see us as half-believing in what we believe. How do we change that? Jesus is our example, guys. He spoke in such a way, he loved in such a way that it made people go, there's something different here. Because we know what the truth is. We know what the truth is. The truth is that Jesus would go to every single one of these, every single one of the lost. He'd look them in the eyes and he would say, I love you. I love you. I care about you. I'm sorry that this world has been so painful. I'm sorry of the results of sin, but I got a better way out for you. And you don't have to fix yourself. I've come to you. Just take it on faith. Just take it on faith. Really, yeah, I'm going to ask you to do some things that might be hard and might be uncomfortable, but just trust me that it's going to be a better way. Guys, we can change this. So pull out your blue cards. Everyone pull out your blue cards. Rick talked about how we're doing something different, and this is going to become something normal. We want you guys, when you get your blue cards, we don't want you to put them in the offering like normal, okay? What we're going to do is all of us are going to fill out the card every single Sunday. I was waiting for a groan. That's okay. You'll be all right, okay? Some of you rolled your eyes. I caught a couple of you rolling your eyes. Okay, now, what we're going to do is every single week, all of us are going to do this. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because we want to be better at helping you take next steps. We want to be better at helping you take this beyond just a Sunday morning, okay? So we have specific things that we want to ask you to say, I'm going to do this week. And then we're going to email you and remind you, okay? We're going to send you a thing that says, hey, don't forget, this week you said you wanted to do this, okay? What we're going to do is we want to be better at helping you take next steps. Okay, so every week we're going to have a time where we go over, hey, what are you committing yourself to this week? What are you making a commitment to? And so we want you to check these things. Now, we don't expect you to write down your address every single week. Please don't, okay? Okay, please don't do that. Just write your name on there. If we already have your information, just write your name on there. The other reason, we really want to have more prayer requests. We believe that there are more prayer requests happening, but people forget to write down the blue card. This is your chance to tell us what's going on. We love praying for you as a staff on Tuesday, so fill that out, okay? So one, we want to help you take better next steps, okay? So we want to be more, we're trying to be more responsible in helping you, okay? Take it past Sunday. At the same time, we're constantly having new people show up to our church, so they're just kind of testing the waters, and that's great. Again, though, when they step in here, we want to be very responsible with our guests, right? And we've been reading up on studies, and a while ago I introduced Curtis McGinnis to you guys. Now, he's going to be helping us working on next steps and connections and that kind of stuff. And he comes in with a wealth of knowledge, and it's simple. We're not going to if you're new with us today, it's not like we're plotting to try to convert you and get you. That's not it, okay? If you're going to fit here, we want to do our part to make sure it's as easy as possible, okay? So we're going to be following up in different ways. Again, not like we're going to give them stuff, free stuff, okay? Everyone likes free stuff. That's what we're going to do. Does that sound good? Okay, so when you, church, every single week, everyone sits down, okay, everyone pull your blue cards. What are you committing yourself to? Fill out your information. When guests come in here and everyone is doing it, okay, we're sheep. We're a little bit more comfortable filling that out. Again, we're going to give them stuff. We're not going to spam their email. We're not going to get obnoxious. We just want to make sure they know, hey, if you're interested in connecting with us, here's your next step. Okay, here's how you can do that. So those who are interested, they can follow up through. For those that aren't, then they'll go to a different church or whatever, that's fine. But you can help be a part of the process as you help us, church. I know you might be annoyed with the fact that we're going to make you do this every Sunday. But again, it has purpose. You're going to help more people get connected. And at the same time, you yourself, we want to help you take next steps. So here's some simple next steps we want to show you. Baptism, we want to tell you, we're going to make sure there's baptism available for you if you're interested in that. I talked about Friendship Place, guys. Friendship Place is so great. I get hugged by these kids. We're getting connected to them. Again, it's a place that the world does not expect us to do. The world does not expect us to do this kind of stuff. But I love these kids. They're so precious. They're so beautiful. Some of them are drawn to me because some of them just don't really have much of a dad in their life. Okay? Some of them, they won't get their homework done unless we help them. They're trying to learn English, right? I got this little boy who pretends like he doesn't know his English. Guys, he's so smart, okay? Come join us at Friendship Place. We need people. I'm just saying, we need people. We need more people. We need you, church. Some of you could commit to this, but you're just kind of sitting back. Lukewarm, I guess, if that's what you like, how you like to roll. Anyways, okay. Last week we talked about committing to inviting a friend to Easter. Again, you know, if you got a friend you invite to Easter, I'd say, I'm committing to do that. We will follow up with you on that. Jump down to the last one. This is the big one. The last one. Love your one life unexpectedly. Okay? Now, I don't just love someone unexpectedly. Okay? Do something this week that is unexpected. Okay? And we said your one life. Because that's probably a little bit easier for some of you to think about doing, okay? You're more likely maybe to commit to loving on your one life, that one person that's far from Christ, right? Like, commit to, but I don't care if it's them or if it's someone else, just commit to loving someone unexpectedly. Again, we're going to follow up with you and say, hey, just a reminder, you said you want to do this, how's that going? Like, we want to do that for you, okay? So commit to doing that, and just check that. I would love to see most of you checking that this week. Anyone doing it right now? No? Okay, well. The last one is something I'm really excited about. Everyone, pull out your phones if you have the Bible app on your phone, okay? Pull out your phone and open up the Bible app, okay? At the bottom right corner, there's a thing that says More. On there's a thing that says Events, okay? Click on Events, and then if you're letting it use your location, it should find it. But if not, you can search for the keywords, Hope Summit. You'll notice that there is an event, Hope Summit Christian Church Easter Reading Plan. This is our commitment to you. So often we say, well, you should read your Bible more often. People are like, well, we're not sure. What we're going to do is every single time you go onto this app and you go to events, you should find a reading plan by Hope Summit. We want to read the Bible together. So join us and commit to joining us in reading this. We're just reading an Easter reading plan, getting ready, okay? So you can click on that, and after your phone loads. Obviously, we have more people using the internet right now. Fantastic. Okay. After you click on that, you'll see a little button that says Start Plan. Okay, so you can start that plan, and we're going to read it together. Okay, so go ahead and join us. Now, we promise you every single month, every single week, every single month, there's going to be something there for you. So if you're not sure what to read, just read what the rest of us are reading. Does that sound good? Now, if you're saying, but I hate my phone, and I don't want to have a smartphone, and I don't want to use that app, guess what? We have paper versions for you back at the Welcome Center. So we will make those available to you as well. So we want to read our Bible together, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to read your Bible. There you go. We have, handed this to you. It's in your face. Okay, if you think I should be reading my Bible a little bit more often, there you are. Okay, just take it. Go on, take it. Okay, now, I've gone long enough. Everyone, when you're done filling out your blue card, filling out what you're committed to, there will be baskets in the back, or as you're going out, you can drop that in there and be on your way. Please, if you could, return the pins. It's okay, we plan on buying more pins, but if you could return the pins, that'd be great. Love you guys, we'll see you next week.